I don't like to think too far ahead.
So you haven't thought alternative
No, I don't like
careers
thinking too far ahead. People set like goals, long distance goals and shit. That's too much for me. I already feel like I'm living it. And then I just carry on doing that, you know, carry on day by day, already living the final goal, the goal of being the world champion. I already carry myself like I'm a world champion. I already speak like I'm a world champion. And that's it, I just carry on day by day. So I'll take it as it comes. Again, like I said, you were asking me about the future. I'll let you know a little bit closer, you know what I mean? All I can see right now is the gold. That's all I can see.
Everyone in this room knows how to create. You're not a manager of your life, you're a creator of your life, or you wouldn't be in this room. How do you create your life? You get hungry for something, don't you? Who has done something in your life that once seemed difficult or impossible, and now it's part of your life? Who's got something in your life in this area? Say I. How did you do it? You created it 3 ways. Number 1, you decided there's something you wanted so bad that you unleashed all your desire. You became obsessed with it. If it was a business or a car or a relationship or a transformation in your body, if there's something you once envisioned and now it's real, it's because you didn't just envision it, you brought so much emotion to it that now it's in your life. It was once a dream, it was once a goal, and now it's in your life. How many have something like that in your life now? Say I. You may take it for granted now, hopefully not, but it was once just a vision. It may have seemed impossible at one time. So how did you do it? You started with a concrete vision of what you wanted and you focused on it continuously, didn't you? Wherever focus goes, energy flows. You envisioned something, you got clear about it, and then you started thinking about all the reasons why you wanted it. You got excited about it. Said, this is what's next for me now. I want this. You may have dreamed about it, thought about it, talked about it. But when you focus on something continuously, something magical happens. You get insights, don't you? You overhear a conversation and you hear something you wouldn't have heard if you didn't have that outcome or goal that you wanted so badly. Who's ever come up with something, obsessed about it, didn't even know how to do it, and it just happened and it came together? Who's had that experience? Say I. So why don't we tap into that power now for your business and life?
Whether it's personal or people around me, when you see people that are positive, that look at something good and something bad that took place, they move along in life faster, they're better, and people want to be around these people. I mean, too often people gossip, then one gossip person wants to be around the other person that gossips, but they don't realize when you gossip, you're saying something you heard about somebody else. You're telling everybody, what if part of it was wrong? You're gonna go out and tell every person you told this, oh, I'm sorry it was wrong, tell everybody you told, it's not gonna happen. So it's things you learn about. Don't gossip, don't belittle people if you don't have to. God, please don't. Try and look at the positive angle. What good could come out of something? And that positiveness is gonna make you live longer, happier, and wake up in the morning happy, not, oh my God, I gotta go to work, I can't wait till I get home, I wanna retire, because people were not positive, they were not happy. And what happens when they retire? They hate their job, they retire, 3 or 4 years later they're dead because they have nothing to do. That positive attitude, be around positive people, encourage positiveness. If you find yourself walking around just complaining all the time around people that complain a lot, man, move or just try and do something different, change your life. Being positive and a positive attitude is find something positive and something bad. Makes you look for solutions. When I was down and out, okay, oh, pop bottles, let's get the pop bottles, cash them in.
I always want to constantly evolve, you know, I always want to constantly grow. I never want to get to a point where I feel like I got it figured out, you know, like I always want to like kind of like push myself to be better, you know, and do greater things, no matter what it is. I mean, I want to be the best. I'm a competitor, you know, I like to compete, you know, like growing up with, you know, with the name Michael Jordan, you know, I've always had a certain pressure on myself and always having to kind of like, you know, prove people wrong and I just kind of like put an instant chip on my shoulder of wanting to just to be great, you know, and do great things and also help people, man. I'm really big in the next generation. I feel like that's the only way it's going to get better moving forward is if, you know, you got to lead this world in a better place than it was when you came in. You know, I'm born in '87, dash, question mark. I don't know when I'm gone, you know what I'm saying? But I want to work on my dash, you know what I'm saying? I want to work on that time that I'm here. And it's, And if I can make it easier for the next round of filmmakers and the next round of actors coming up, you know, then I'm content with going out on that.
First of all, you have to treat yourself like you matter, because if you don't, then you don't take care of yourself, and you become vengeful and cruel, and you take it out on people around you, and you're not a positive force. None of that's good. So you suffer more, and so does everyone around you. And there's a malevolence that enters into it. None of that's good. So that's what happens if you don't treat yourself like you matter. And then, well, what happens if you don't treat other people like they matter? Well, you lie to them, you cheat them, you steal, you enter into impulsive relationships with them. They can't trust you. That doesn't go anywhere. They don't like you. You end up alone at best, and maybe like incarcerated at worst. Like, that doesn't work. And so you watch the people around you who thrive, regardless of what they say. They act out the proposition that everyone matters. And then you have a functional society. And I think, okay, well, if when you act out the proposition that everyone matters, you have a functional society, maybe that's evidence that that proposition is true. It's like, I think it's true.
You need to bet on your strengths and don't give a f about what you suck at. You're gonna, way too many people in this room are gonna spend the next 30, 40 years of their lives trying to check the boxes of the things that they're not as good at, and that you're gonna waste a load of time and lose. I highly recommend auditing yourself, or if you have no empathy or EQ or self-awareness, then find somebody in your family or friendship that does, and let them tell you who you are. And once you believe that, either for yourself or someone else told you, go directly, all chips, all into that, because that is the only possible way, in my opinion, watching from the outside, that is, let me rephrase, that is a very highly likely way of over-indexing, because the truth is, if you want to be an anomaly, you've got to act like one. You know, like, and so, that's it, that's what I got. So thanks for having me.
As I started studying people that did more, not people that didn't do more, not people that said do less, not people that said, hey, don't be satisfied or be satisfied, not people that said, hey, be grateful for what you have. I started studying people that said and had done more, that you can do more. That's who I listen to today. I listen to the people, my friends in my life, the people I listen to, the people I talk to, the people that I follow on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. I don't follow everybody. I follow the people that say, you can do more, dude. I follow the people that say, I am doing more. I follow the people that are actually doing something on this planet to make a difference for the better. You have to be selective. You have to give something up, okay? You cannot listen to everybody, to every voice, to every person that's quit or given up. You got to make a decision. If you have that little voice inside of you that says you can do more, you have to give attention to that voice, and you got to feed it with those that support that idea that you can do more.
I focus on things that are AI driven, artificial intelligence driven, whether it's machine learning, deep learning neural networks, medical applications, but within AI is a buzzword that everybody's using right now. You know, and to that point, you know, we as old guys, we go back and it's like 1995, we talk about the internet. And I would say to people back in 1995, look, if you don't understand the internet, you're not gonna be able to do business. And now that's just blocking and tackling that seems obvious. Back then it wasn't. Right? I could even take you further back to my first company. You know, what we did, it was a company called Micro Solutions, and we did local area networks and wide area networks. And I used to walk into companies and say, you're gonna have to hook these PCs together at some point. That'll make you more productive, more effective, you know, give you a competitive advantage. And people are like, nah, I'll just carry this floppy from this PC to that PC. Yeah, okay. But today, we're at the same type of inflection point with artificial intelligence. You don't have to be an expert and be able to put together your own neural network. You know, you don't have to know what weights and biases are. But you have to have more than just a cursory understanding. Just like you have to know the difference between, you know, different types of websites, and you have to understand e-commerce if you're in e-commerce. You have to have a cursory understanding of how apps work. You're gonna have to have at least, if not more, cursory understanding of artificial intelligence, because it will change everything we do. And if the internet was 10x in terms of change to business, artificial intelligence will be 100x or more. If you go to my house, right next to my bed, there's a book. machine learning for dummies. If you go into my bathroom, there's deep neural networks for dummies, right? If you go in, there's a something for dummies in every room of my house, you know? It can go two ways, I know, but I'm just telling you, put the time. I mean, I've taken, you know, I can't even tell you how many hours now I spend every week, if not daily, working. Like I'll go onto Amazon, AWS, and go through their machine learning tutorials. Don't think to yourself, I'm not technical enough, or I'm not gonna get this, or I don't get into this, or it's too much. Try it. Get as far as you can, because it's like doing a basic website and a little bit of HTML. Just having done that, you feel smarter and you feel a little bit more confident about this. You know, I don't want to be an alarmist, but I'm trying to scare the hell out of you because it's important.
It's a very natural process to begin something, to be very excited, and then as you go down that process to realize, yeah, I actually don't like this, it's not giving me as much energy as I thought it would, it's taking energy away, and therefore I want to give up and quit that thing. And she said, if you do that once or twice, like, hey, so be it, but if you're doing it every time, if you just love that initial rush, that excitement of something new, but the actual nitty-gritty reality of getting good at it, of doing what Michio Kaku calls having butt power, meaning you sit your butt in the seat and you do the work, if that's really your problem and nothing is interesting enough for you to sit there and do the work, you haven't developed grit yet. And so grit is the ability to persevere, to see things through, to go past the point at which it has stopped being fun and it becomes boring because you believe in your end goal enough, you're excited by what you're trying to accomplish so much that you're willing to fight through all of that difficulty. You're willing to fight through the boredom, you're willing to fight through the unease that arises when you step outside your comfort zone, you're doing things you're not good at and things that are boring. Those are the two things that I find kill most people. They just cannot handle the things that make them go, oh God, like I'm not very good at this and I'm feeling really badly about myself. And they forget that they can get good on a long enough timeline. And then two, inevitably, in any pursuit of greatness, in any endeavor where you're trying to gain mastery, you're gonna get bored because practice is repetition. It's doing something over and over and over and over to really train yourself to get to the point where you're truly exceptional. And there's just so much boredom inherent in that process. So building in the resilience to see all that stuff through is the key part of grit.
So when we came to America, we were poor and broke, the way I looked at it, because we would always run out of money before run out of month. We decided, you know, do we do without electricity or gas? Because some months we couldn't afford to pay both. And you know, being broke is being without money. Being poor is being kind of scarcity-minded, poor-minded. And we just realized that money's for the rich, money's for the Americans, it's for the people who were born here, who went to college. And that's how I grew up. And later, Jim Franco taught me that, hey, you know what? You can't be scarcity-minded. You have to live in abundance. You have to understand that people just want a solution to a problem and they don't care about the color of your skin, about the level of your education. They want a solution to a problem. So he taught me, he had to break all these old patterns that I had, right?
What were some of the patterns?
Some of the patterns were that money's for the white folk and not for the foreigners.
You actually thought?
Yeah, I really, because that's how it was. Because every time we went and got more food stamps, it was all foreigners. There was no white people in line, at least not in the parts of Santa Ana that I was raised. And so I felt that money was for the people who were telling us to leave this country, go back to your own country. And that also puts a chip on your shoulder, right, against them. And so I guess I had some reverse racism towards white America. Now I realize for no apparent reason. There was a couple of idiots in every culture, I imagine, right? But so that was one pattern that I had. Another pattern that I had was that being proud to be blue collar. Like my dad was like, and he still says this, work is holy. And I believe that work is holy. But the fact that he had so many jobs, a paper route, pumping gas, worked at a pizzeria. And so because of that mindset, blue collar, we were always this blue collar mentality. And I took pride in being blue collar. Another pattern Jim Franco had to break was like, dude, be white collar. Don't use the shovel, sell the shovel. I'd never heard that phrase before. I'm the guy that took pride in, I could dig a deeper hole, a deeper trench, I could outwork you, but that's still trading time for dollars. And so to be able to break those limiting belief systems that I had, to me was huge. And all of a sudden I realized I'm no longer poor-minded. I may end up broke again. I do really well now, but I may make one or two bad decisions with my money or my investment and end up being broke again, but I'll never be poor. And I know how to get back from broke because I know how to add value to society, solve problems in exchange for money. but I'll never be poor again. And poor is a state of mind of feeling out of control, scarcity-minded, taking pride in being blue collar. No one should ever take pride in being blue collar, period. You've got a brain, you've got a solution to a problem that people want to pay for, put it out there.
So when you say scarcity-minded, abundant-minded, what do you mean?
Well, a scarcity-minded person says, uh-oh, someone else opened up a gym, across the street from me, they're gonna put me out of business, I better charge less, right? The abundant-minded person says, someone else opened up a gym across the street from me, I better out-service them, outwork them, out-social media them, right? So the scarcity-minded person is always the sky is falling, the Chicken Little mentality, the, oh my gosh, if Trump goes into office, then we're all screwed. Oh my gosh, if Hillary goes into office, then we're all screwed. I don't care who's in office anymore. I control my own economy. The economy can crash and go back up and back down again. I will find a way. As Tony Robbins says, I'm built for winter. I just didn't know it. And so more people need to be abundant-minded in that if the economy crashes, I just have to deliver more value and create this category of one about myself. If competition shows up, I have to out-service them, outwork them, out-social media them, versus shrivel up and die.
How did you stay motivated all the time? People ask me that all the time, and the answer is I didn't, and neither did you to become successful. The separator in life is really important. People think the most inspired, motivated person wins. Nah, not really. It's the person who can work on the days they're not inspired and motivated. It's what do you do when you're not feeling great? What do you do when it's not your best day? How do you do that? Carries you through is rituals and habits. So when you're fatigued, when you're tired, when you're under pressure, you react reflexively. And so successful people rely on habits and rituals, not just their inspiration and motivation level. Of course, we're both professionals at being motivated and inspired, but that's not every day, every minute. And so what do? I work on the days because my habits and rituals carry me through. And so for me, here's how I look at my life and my day. If I can control the first 30 minutes of my day, and the last 30 minutes of my day, I have a whole lot better chance of the middle of my day being controlled. And so I'm a freak about the first 30 minutes of every day. It's really about the first 45 minutes, and I'm obsessive about the last 45 minutes of every single day. That gives me some illusion in my mind and measure of control. The other thing it does, it delivers to me habits and rituals that serve me, that I do every day that are consistent. It gives me comfort in stormy times. That ocean out there is raging at the top right now, right? The waves are crashing. At the bottom of that ocean, it's completely calm. At the bottom of that ocean is the habitual part of the water, right? It's the part of the water that stays the most consistent. That's why it's so calm, okay? So when you see someone out of control, their emotions are up and down all the time. This is someone who is without rituals and habits. Successful people have those, and so they do. And so it keeps me calm, it keeps me comfortable.
There's a very thin dividing line between success and failure when you start a business from scratch. And if you don't have enough money to pay the bills, you go the wrong side of that dividing line. And if you can somehow get enough money to pay the bills, you stay the right side of that dividing line. I've always been running faster than perhaps I should, and I have great difficulty saying no to things, so keep on taking on new things. And we've just managed to stay the right side of the dividing line over the last 50 years in business. But equally, in those early days, when you're starting a business without any financial backing, it's easy to slip the wrong side. And in fact, most entrepreneurs do slip the wrong side. And the important thing is then just to pick yourself up and start again. And if it doesn't work at that time, keep going until you do succeed, and not to give up.
You've lived a life dominated by doubt and fear. How do you step into bravery? Step. That's how you step into bravery. Step. Take the step. Step aggressively towards your fear. And that step towards your fear is the step into bravery. Because we're scared of what we don't know. And there is only one way to learn and to know, and that is to confront that fear. You have to step, you have to go. And this simple action, this simple attitude, it answers so many questions So many questions. How do you get to the gym every day? You step. You go. How do you change your diet? You step. You go. How do you overcome fear of failure or fear of success or fear of fear itself? You step. And how do you face the fear of the unknown? You step. Don't wait anymore. Don't think anymore. Don't plan anymore. Don't contemplate anymore. Don't make any more excuses or justifications. Don't rationalize anything else. No, no, and no. Instead, be aggressive. Take action now. And what is the first action that you need to take? What's the first step you need to take? The first step you need to take is just that. Step.
When I decided to do this, I first talked to my wife, who is sitting here in the audience, and she had married a relatively stable, goofy, but still relatively stable person working at a Wall Street firm. I worked at a quantitative hedge fund, and this was a hard decision. And I was looking for the right framework in which to make that kind of important decision. And the right framework I found is a regret minimization framework. And so that's just a nerdy way of saying that you want to project yourself to age 80 and then think back over your life. And if you're 80, what are you want to minimize the number of regrets you have throughout that period of time. I think this is something a lot of people do, maybe subconsciously. Very few people probably name it regret minimization framework because most people are healthier than that. But it was a very clear way for me to think about making that kind of life decision. And the way it helped was I thought, okay, if I go do this thing and participate in this thing called the internet that I genuinely believe is going to be a big deal, and if I fail, am I going to regret having tried and failed? And I knew the answer to that was no. But I also knew that if I didn't try, that I would always regret that. I would always wonder, and it would haunt me until that mythical day, which I actually hope will come.
When the things most matter, you so desperately don't want to destroy it for being scared that you can really destroy it.
Sure.
When I hosted the Oscars, I was like, wow, man, this is 1 billion people, and I just thought, okay, whatever you do, just remember, you're a kid from Mooroonga in Sydney, you're hosting the Oscars, have some fun, and luckily for me, those turning points, I've somehow always stuck to that idea of just having fun.
People are just afraid, man. So many people are afraid of rejection, of failure, but without failure, you have no success. What stung the most, biggest failure, I had a TV show called The Big House, got picked up by ABC. They told me that we were gonna do 12 episodes, flew me down to New York. This is the biggest news ever. I'm about to be rich, holy shit, I'm 22. I got a TV show, I'm writing, executive producing, starring in the show. You know what, no, I'm not just gonna go down there by myself. We gotta bring the cast. They said, nope, Kevin, we only flying you. I said, well, I'm gonna pay for the cast to come. I took my own money, flew them all down to New York. Get to New York, put on my suit, people taking pictures of me walking out. This is the best thing ever. Holy shit, I'm famous. This is what it is. I get to the upfronts. Upfronts are where they announce your TV show. It's a slew of shows. They're announcing their time slots. I'm next. They're about to announce The Big House. Somebody puts their hand on my chest and says, Kevin, wait. They talking the earpiece. They said, nope, I'm standing with him right now. I'm like, what's going on? What do they want me to do? They want me to go on the other side or something? He goes, okay, I'll tell him. They canceled. They're not going to pick you up. You got to step back. And I was like, wait, that don't sound right. Literally that fast, they sent me home. They were like, you got to just go home. TV show got picked up 6 months later for 6 episodes. The 3rd episode's aired. They canceled the show again. I got the show canceled twice in a 6-month period, which has never been done before. I booked about 3 more pilots. Got canceled. There was a show called John Stamos' show. He was a publicist. and they wanted me as a series regular. The show was going great. Ratings were good. Put me on the show got canceled. It was everything I touched on TV turned to I'm now just sitting out here doing nothing. I ain't had no money. Borrowing money left and right. I decided to say, F it. I said, I'm just gonna do stand-up comedy and focus on my craft. And I slaved the road for about 5 years, doing the same circuit over and over again.
I really think creativity is important, whatever you do. I think it's fun to be creative with meals that you cook or meals that you eat or vacations that you go on or dates that you set. You know, I just think it's fun to be creative. Everyone likes that. And I think authenticity is just super important. I might be hyper aware of it because I grew up in an industry that's wrought with inauthenticity, that people will look you right in the face and totally tell you what you need to hear at the moment. I don't think that's unique to that industry, but it's filled with it there. So I think transparency and authenticity is just super important. I don't mind having conflict with someone if we can then be done with it. It's that years spent where you know that something's going on and you're not talking about it, those awful Thanksgivings with the family of cousins. Where you're like, hey Jim, hey Neil. I hate that. Life's too short for that stuff.
Just saw this Rumi quote that I love. Set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. The Philly translation of that is don't be hanging with no jank-ass jokers that don't help you shine. The prerequisite for spending time with any person is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed your flame. Look at your last 5 text messages. Are those people feeding your flames or dousing your fire? Put your phone down for just a second and look around. Look to the people around you. Are those people throwing logs on your fire or are they pissing on it? The people that you spend time with are gonna make or break your dreams. Everybody don't deserve to be around you. You gotta defend your light with your life. So who are the people in your life that are fanning your flames? Shout them out, tag them below.
I came home one night from work spraying for cockroaches. And long story short, I turned on the Discovery Channel. I saw some guys going through Navy SEAL training. And they were going through Hell Week and they were getting their ass just beat. You know, in and out of the water, guys ringing the bell. They were just suffering. And I was weighing like 297 pounds. And I had to make a change in my life. You know, I was at an all-time low and I wasn't going anywhere. And I was exactly what everybody said I was gonna be, which was nothing. So I had to make a change.
What was it about seeing suffering that's really interesting? And I actually get it, but I want to hear you explain it. Why suffering was the thing that triggered that thought?
Well, for me, growing up, I came from a horrible background. I got called nigger every day of my life growing up, lived in a small town. The Klan headquarters at that time was about 20 minutes from where I lived. One of the high ups in the KKK, son, sat behind me in 2 classes, so he called me nigger all the time. Got my first car, they spray painted nigger, we're gonna kill you on it. So I was just an insecure, scared kid. And the only way I could find myself was through putting myself through the worst thing possible. I'm gonna say the exact opposite of what today's world is saying. So we read a bunch of books nowadays. As humans, we wanna find out how to be someone else. What we don't do is we don't go inside. So literally turn yourself inside out. Read the book that's like we're writing a book every day of our lives. Every day we're seeing who we are as people. When I was growing up, I lied for people to accept me because I didn't accept myself. So I would make up stories so then you would accept me into your world. I would, everything I did was for someone else to like me. It wasn't until I started reading my own book about how pathetic I was as a human being. I can blame my dad, I can blame kids at school, I can blame having health issues, ADD, my mom not being around. Great mom, but she was doing her thing.
Right.
I could blame a lot of people. And that's the book I was reading. And I put it off on everybody else. It wasn't until I said, you know what? For me to fix this, I gotta read what the f is wrong with David Goggins. Not blame anybody. Read my book and say, okay, I'm afraid of my shadow. How can I overcome that? Go in the military, get your ass kicked, do things you hate to do, be uncomfortable every day of your life. Roger that. I'm not the smartest kid in the world. Okay. Instead of somebody saying, oh no, you're smart. No, don't say that to yourself. I said to myself, no, I'm a dumb. Okay, roger that. How you get smarter? Educate yourself. So the things that we run from the truth. We're running from the truth, man. So the only way I became successful was going towards the truth. As painful and as brutal as it is, it changed me. It allowed me to become, in my own right, who I am today.
Being an actor, or even being an artist, and I had studied in school behind the camera, was not even in the vernacular of my dreams. I was raised 9 to 5, you go to work, you work your way up a scale.
That's from your old man, right?
Yeah. And that was all I was able to even, like I said, dream about. So the idea of living life and having a career that was in the arts, that was in the storytelling business, that was something that was really fun, was not something that, like I said, I even dreamed of. I was in the right place, right time, right bar. Guy found me and said, you want to come in and read for a part in a movie I'm here producing called Dazed and Confused? I said, sure. I go read for the part. It's got 3 lines. 3 lines turns into 3 weeks' work. They're paying me $325 a day. People are telling me I'm pretty good at it, and I think I'm getting away with something. And I still do feel like I'm getting away with something.
Didn't you add?
Some of the most important discoveries, inventions, and innovations within a field come from people who are trained in a much different field and who have an outsider's approach. Louis Pasteur was a classic example of this. He was trained as a chemist and mineralogist, so he brought a much different way of thinking to the subject of medicine and germs, a method that was infinitely more creative. Albert Einstein was a complete outsider. His 2 most important discoveries came when he was working at the Swiss Patent Office. Google itself exemplifies this idea. It is perhaps the most successful business on the planet, founded by 2 men who are relatively complete outsiders to business and who therefore structured and directed their company in a very novel and creative fashion. I could go on and on and on with this list, including many great artists. There are 2 important reasons why outsiders generally have a creative advantage. First, they are less steeped in and burdened by the conventions of the field that they are attacking. They ask a different set of questions. They approach problems from unconventional angles. And second, they are often trained in totally unrelated fields and so can make interesting and creative connections between 2 very different forms of thinking, like science and business, or chemistry and medicine, or engineering and design. Now, we can't all consciously follow such a path, but even within the careers that we're pursuing, we can train ourselves to think like outsiders and help loosen up the mind in the process.
You'd think there were no hurdles or obstacles that I had to overcome, but even when I got to high school, I wasn't ranked. I wasn't ranked. I wasn't highly touted as a high school prospect. I had nobody really running, knocking on my door saying, please, please, please come play for our school, until Coach McKillop called. And everything happens for a reason, and there's a story to everything. And if you take time to realize what your dream is, and what you really want in life, no matter what it is, whether it's sports, whether it's in other fields, you have to realize that there's always work to do, and you want to be the hardest working person in whatever you do, and you'll put yourself in position to be successful. And you have to have a passion about what you do. And basketball was mine, and that's what's carried me to this point.
I read this book because I was in disbelief, because people would tell, here's the strategy for success, the secret, right? Go into your house and do a quiet room, and you close the lights, draw the shades, and sit on a couch and visualize a big fat check. 25 G's, $1,000 US, okay, with your name on it. And I want you to imagine that check and just make that check go bigger in your mind and make it real, more real, and just put it out into the ether of the universe, and the law of attraction will take hold. Just think about it. Bullshit, right? Hello? If that's your strategy for success, the only thing that will show up in your mailbox is not the check, it's a freaking eviction notice from your landlord. They'll be towing away your car. Your wife or your husband will be over the next door neighbor, and you'll be still saying, where's the check? Where's the check? Where's... Okay? The secret is a load of crap, okay? Do I believe in manifestation? Yeah! Damn straight I do, but you gotta take action. I'm one of those unfortunate people. I tried it. I really did. I swear I tried it. I read the books, well, let me try, you know? So I sat there and I prayed for the check, never came. But when I went out and started taking action, guess what? The check came with an extra couple of zeros.
Passion is not an actionable word. It's correct, that those who do the things that they're passionate about do better, but it's not helpful advice. And so the question is, where does passion come from? Passion is a result. Passion is an energy. Passion is the feeling you have when you're engaged in something that you love. Passion is the feeling you have that you would probably do this for free, and you can't believe somebody pays you to do it. And I think we mistake that passion is something we do in our private lives, but it shouldn't be done, in our careers, for example. And I'm a firm believer that you are who you are. And anybody who says, I'm different at home than I am at work, in one of those two places, you're lying. And the goal is to make everything you do in home and at work something that you have excitement to do. So how do you find the things that you're excited to do? Well, it's actually easier than you think. What are the things that you love to do? What are the things that you would do for free? How can you recreate that feeling and be paid for it? So what are the things that I do on the weekend, right? I love, I'm very involved in the art world. I love to go to museums and galleries, but I love to go see dance and performances because I want to see how others are interpreting the world. So that inspires me. New ideas, new thoughts, new ways of looking at the world are things that interest me privately, and I seek it out and pay money for it, right? So does that mean I have to have a career in the arts? No, it means I have to have a career where new ideas are explored, where people are experimenting and trying things out, and I have to explore new ideas and try things out, and I'm just as excited to go to work every day as I am to, go do something on a Saturday night. And so the idea of finding your passion is ironically simple because you should be doing stuff that you enjoy sometimes. What is the stuff that you enjoy, and then what is the stuff that you love? Who are the people that you love, and what do they all have in common?
What kills great businesses, if you look at, I do believe in looking at history, and I like to study failure, actually. And my partner says, all I want to know is where I'll die, so I'll never go there. And we want to see what has caused businesses to go bad. And the biggest thing that kills them is complacency. I mean, you want a restlessness, a feeling that, that somebody's always after you, but you're going to stay ahead of them. You always want to be on the move. And when you've got a great business, like Coca-Cola, which is, there aren't any like Coca-Cola, but you really, the danger would always be that you rest on your laurels. But I see none of that, obviously, at Coca-Cola. But that is the key, to compete the same way when you've got 1.8 billion servings being sold daily as when you were selling 10 a day. And that restlessness, that belief that tomorrow is more exciting than today, you just have to have it permeate the organization.